So let's move on to the predictions. I've got crystals here that I can read for everybody, and we will see. Okay, so she says this is going to be 55-40 Trump over Nikki Haley. Now, we're also going to include her Democratic predictions, because these are interesting. 62% Biden, 18% for Dean Phillips, 7% for Marianne Williamson, and 3% for the ceasefire. What's your back-of-the-napkin math for the GOP and then for the Democratic primary? What do you think?
I think Trump pushes like 58 to about 35.
Okay.
Like it's a blowout.
Yeah.
Because I think a bunch of those DeSantis people actually wind up with Trump.
I agree with you.
It's not as simple as people think that, Trump and DeSantis don't like. DeSantis and Haley don't like each other either. And also there's some people just don't like Nikki Haley.
Yeah, and DeSantis endorsed Trump, right?
Right.
So that seems important.
That's not nothing.
Right.
Democratic side, I think Biden may be 50. Or slightly less. Like you're gonna have to write him in.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. Now, write-in campaigns have succeeded, Murkowski and all that, but it's rare. It's a rare thing.
So maybe I think Krystal's probably about right. Maybe Dean Phillips pushes close to 20. Marianne pushes close to 10. Ceasefire. We'll talk later in the show about this. Probably is going to be lucky to get like 1,000 votes total because it's very late. It's an unusual thing.
Yes.
People are like, what do you mean write-in ceasefire? Do we get a ceasefire if it wins?
Right.
It could shock people. DMFI, the pro-Israel group, just wrote yesterday to the New Hampshire Secretary of State saying, don't even count them. So at least there's some concern out there.
Yeah, well, they don't know what the number, period. Even 1,000 is 1,000 too. It's one too many. Okay, so mine, I actually think I'm going to go Trump 60. I think he's going to break the 60% threshold. He's got, momentum is on his side. Everything is going. Just the energy that we see. New Hampshire was already Trump country back in 2016. You've got tons there. Sure, the New Hampshire establishment is behind Nikki Haley. No, who gives a, whatever.
Who are they?
Look at Iowa. The freaking governor of the state endorsed Ron DeSantis. How much good did that do for him? So, okay, everyone's like, oh, Chris Sununu. I'm like, all right, whatever. He's running
they like Sununu, but they don't
listen to him.
And they're also not electing a governor of New Hampshire.
Exactly right. So how they would vote for their senator, and look, we've seen this previously. They can vote, they elect Democratic senators when it's a general election, but not in a primary. That's not how things work. Remember who they put up in their senatorial candidate?
That wild general.
Exactly. Yeah. How did that go? But my point just being that the electorate, the primary electorate, very, very different. So we can keep that. I think Trump is going to beat that. I think Nikki Haley lucky to get 35-something% of the vote. And then the big question is she going to drop out tonight, if she does not cross that threshold, if she doesn't win the primary, because we got to set the calendar up for everybody. We have to remember the South Carolina primary is more than a month now away after this. So you got to twist in the wind for a whole month before you're about to play in your own home state.
Staring at polls showing you down by 40 points in your own home state.
Make a lot of
Kamala
sense.
Harris dropped out because she didn't want to get rinsed in California.
Yes, exactly. Right, which was ahead of Super Tuesday, or no, not Super Tuesday, but I think a little bit afterwards. They revised it.
Yeah, the mail-in voting started very early, but it was a Super Tuesday.
So we can just surmise, it's very possible that if Trump absolutely romps, I think a 60 would do it. I think that would be enough to push her out. But listen, she's a narcissist. Who knows? Some donors enjoy lighting their cash on fire, so maybe they're going to keep doing that. It's certainly possible. For the Democratic primary, I tend to agree with you. I think Krystal's underestimating Dean here a little bit. She has Dean at 18. I'm going to give him 35. I just think that, being on the ballot counts. Being on the ballot matters. It's just one of those is easier. It's going to be, near the top of the ticket. It's got the one with the most, quote unquote, name ID that actually is there. Putting ceasefire and writing in Joe Biden, that takes some effort. I think he'd be lucky to crack 50. Marianne, her campaign has just really struggled. I haven't seen a poll with her above 3, so I'm not even sure I would give her the 7%. Ceasefire, I'm with you. I don't even think it rates. Maybe less than 1%. Yeah.
I think less than 1%. I think you're going to be counting ceasefire in numbers of votes rather than in percentages. But I think you're right that people have been telling pollsters 18% or whatever for Dean Phillips, but they've also been telling pollsters they badly do not want Biden to run for president.
Right.
And so voting against somebody against him. Voting for somebody against him is a way to protest that. The other way to protest it is just to not show up. So I think I would guess you have lower turnout than
That's
before.
A good point.
Because if you're a Democrat, you can either go out, vote for somebody you don't really like, vote for these two other candidates that are on the ballot, but you don't really have much passion for. Or you can mess around and maybe jump over into the Republican primary and vote for Nikki Haley, you don't really like either.
Yeah.
And it's not even going to matter because Trump's going to win either way. So I think a decent number of them stay home. On the other hand, they have so much pride in their little New Hampshire primary.
Yeah, that's true. That's my thing. Is that
the
he did
diehards are
snub
gonna
them.
go.
He
Yeah.
certainly did. So I think there's a chance at
There could be a
least.
shockingly low number. That's possible.
Yeah, right. So let's go through the scenario. So like very, very low turnout, which Biden win, but maybe Dean over performance. There could be medium turnout, which actually, again, I would put Dean a little bit higher up in there.
Here's the question too.
Yeah.
Polls have Biden beating Trump in New Hampshire lately, up by like 5 points or so.
Points. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how many votes Trump gets compared to Biden. And I think the media might pick up on that because Trump could actually end up getting in a competitive Republican primary more votes than Biden gets in an uncompetitive one.
Right, and that would, I mean, to a certain extent, though, it's like, what is that? We're comparing apples to oranges because you got a competitive primary versus a non-competitive primary, so it's not exactly the best barometer, but yeah, you're right. It's certainly something that we will look at. Like we said, we're going to have breaking news on that actually tonight, so you can look forward to that, and then we will also have a show tomorrow morning.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.